This happened when I was 7 years old. I was a very timid girl back then, and the events that transpired that day have stuck with me ever since. I was staying over at a friend's house one Saturday afternoon, and we were both sitting on the couch watching cartoons. For the sake of the story, we'll call my friend Kate. Kate was 2 years older than me, but she could be best described as a tomboy. Unlike me, she was tough and didn't hesitate to beat up any boy at school for saying mean things behind her back. At times, I had a tendency to do whatever Kate told me to, even if I didn't want to do it. Anyway, after watching cartoons for a while, I got hungry, so I left the couch and went into the kitchen to grab a snack. The kitchen was small and had a door which led straight to the backyard, and below it was a little doggy door. Kate no longer had a dog, but the door wasn't removed for some reason. As soon as I stepped into the kitchen doorway, my eyes zeroed in on the doggy door and I froze. To my absolute horror, a grown man with long brown hair was poking his head inside, just the top of his head as he was looking up at the doorknob, probably trying to see if he could reach it. I quickly and quietly ran around the corner to hide. Thankfully, he didn't see me, as he was much too busy trying to squeeze his arm through the door. Kate's parents were out shopping at the time, so we were both home alone with this guy trying to break in. And it was here that I made my first mistake. Instead of calling the police, I ran back into the living room where Kate was and told her about the man. She thought I was joking, so I grabbed her by the hand and pulled her off the couch, then led her back into the kitchen so she can see the man for herself. Sure enough, he was still there. His face was still obscured, as he was looking up at the doorknob, but this time, he had his whole arm inside the doggy door and tried reaching for the knob. Kate let out a soft whimper before quickly pulling her hand over her mouth. It was the first time I saw her look so scared, but when she looked back at me, her fear seemingly went away. She then placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder and put her finger on her lips to keep me quiet. "Don't worry, we're gonna teach that creep a lesson he won't ever forget," she said with a smug grin. I wasn't sure what she was planning. We were two scrawny little girls dressed in tank tops and shorts. Not exactly the picture of intimidation, but like an idiot, I agreed to go along with whatever she was up to. "Okay," I said. "Great. We're gonna have to sneak up on this guy, so do what I do and follow me, and be quiet," she said before walking into the kitchen with me close behind. Even though we tried our best to be stealthy, our feet squeaked loudly across the floor with every step we took. Kate's mom must have cleaned the floor recently, and since me and Kate were both barefoot, the squeaking was twice as loud. We stopped and looked at each other nervously for a moment, thinking we were done for. But fortunately, the man's constant fumbling with the locked door blocked out any squeaks we made. By sheer dumb luck, he hasn't alerted to our presence, even though our footsteps were as loud as an incoming freight train. My heart raced as we continued walking forward, getting closer and closer to the intruder. The man hadn't noticed us yet, but he yanked his head and arm out after seemingly giving up and reaching for the knob. Kate sighed in disappointment, but figured he'd be back to try again. She then sat down in front of the doggy door while I sat beside her. "As soon as he pokes his head in, we're going to kick him as hard as we can," Kate snickered as she raised both her feet off the floor and bent her knees back, preparing them for a kick. I did the same, and we both just stayed in that position, waiting for the man to return. No more than 20 seconds passed before the doggy door flap opened again, and the man popped his head in, this time giving us a good look at his face. But we didn't kick. We just sat there, frozen, eyes wide with fear, as we tried to comprehend what we were looking at. His face. My God. His face looked like it had all of its skin ripped off, leaving only exposed muscle. The top of his head looked normal enough with brown hair, but his face was gone. This is not a face we were expecting to see. Looking back, I'm not sure if his skin was actually gone, or if he just had a detailed tattoo my 7-year-old brain believed to be real. If it was a tattoo, then damn, it was a good one. The exposed muscles and sinews around his cheekbones looked so lifelike that it left both me and my friend petrified. The man himself was also surprised when he saw us for the first time. He glanced between the two of us, completely speechless. And why wouldn't he be? He wasn't expecting to find 2 little girls waiting for him on the other side of the doggy door, with their bare feet raised in the air ready to strike mere inches from his face. This entire situation was so surreal. After a minute of awkward silence, as we just looked at each other, the man finally smiled at us. And when he did, me and my friend began to quake in fear. As if this guy couldn't get any weirder, his mouth was full of razor-sharp teeth, almost as if he was a monster straight out of a horror movie. Then, without warning, he lunged his head forward, mouth open wide like he was ready to bite. Me and Kate screamed as we fell flat on our back, yanking our feet away from the man's teeth, just as they snapped shut. He missed us by mere millimeters, and we weren't about to stick around to see if he could try again. I quickly scrambled to my feet and bolted out of the kitchen. Kate, however, took a little longer to get up, and the man was able to grab her ankle, making her fall to the floor. Looking over my shoulder, I could see Kate screaming as she was being dragged towards the man, who once again had his mouth wide open, ready to take a bite. Kate started kicking the man's face with her other foot, making him let go for a moment, only for then grabbed by her other foot. I raced back into the kitchen, grabbed a few apples which they had been sitting on a nearby table, and started throwing them at the man. The man groaned in annoyance as he let my friend go and scrambled out the doggy door. We could hear his frantic footsteps fading away as he finally left our house. I guess he didn't think breaking in was worth getting pelted by apples. We never told Kate's parents about what happened. I mean, what would we even tell them? A man with no skin on his face and a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth tried to break in and nearly bite off our toes when we confronted him. Her parents would think we were crazy. I don't know if that guy was ever caught, but I hope he never tried this with anyone else. I'll probably never forget that face for as long as I live.